Okay, so this is going to be a video guide for walking you through the process of loading a data file into the system to get a lot of data in a short amount of time. And so I'm going to show you what data files look like, what data loads are, and then I'm going to walk you through creating a few of those. So first I'm going to sign into my Hazard Scout homepage, and since I'm an admin in the system, I can see the control panel link over here on the left, and then I also have access to the data load item within the control panel. So if you don't have access to that, you may need to talk to the administrator of your Hazard Scout website, and that person can go into the roles and permissions, and they can actually go down to the data load section, and they could give you permission to actually upload a data load right there. All right, so back to the control panel and the data load piece. This is the place that you go if you want to learn how to load data files, or if you actually want to load a data file into the system. And so I'll click on that. I don't have any loaded into the system yet, so it's blank right here, but I can create a new one by pressing new data load. So before I get into actually showing you an example, I'm going to walk you through what a data load is and what does that word mean. So this is the little help guide that we have listed on the website, and it kind of gives you a good overview, and I won't read the whole thing to you, but it's definitely worth checking out. But basically, in Hazard Scout, basically everything that you can do it through the website. So if you want to create employees, I could go to the employee page and I could hit add employee, and I could type their name in right there and do it on demand. If I wanted to add trainings or job titles or whatever it was, I can load it manually through the website by going through these types of forms. But if you have a large amount of data, like maybe a lot of employees or a lot of job titles or field offices or whatever it is, it probably makes sense to move that data into the system with a spreadsheet because it would be so much faster. So a data load is just a spreadsheet. It's just a plain Excel spreadsheet. It's saved as a CSV file. So normally Excel spreadsheets have like an Excel or an XLS or an XLSX file extension. You would save yours as a CSV, and then you upload it to the website. And then the website takes that data, it goes through a validation process to verify that all the information looks correct and it's not loading bad data. And then it'll give you an idea of what changes it's going to make to the system. And if everything looks good to you and it's all valid, then you hit run, and then it'll actually run all of the changes in that file. So if I scroll down here, I can see the different types of data that I can load into the system. But I can load employees, field offices, lines of business, customers, job titles, the names of the different types of trainings. I can actually load completed trainings into the system. So when your employees completed their trainings can be loaded right there. And then the equipment can be loaded, and then the history of the equipment inspections can be loaded into the system. So let's go through one of these just to give you an idea of what we're working on here. So I'm going to start with the job title one. That's one of the simplest data load options that we have here. When I click on that, it kind of takes me down to the job title section, and it gives me an overview of what that is. So basically, this is going to be a listing of job titles that you have available for your employees. And so you would want to list all of the different job titles right here. And so it's got 3 columns within this, are expected within your spreadsheet. The first one should be named site, the second one should be named record type, and the third one name. So actually the order doesn't matter of your columns as long as they have the right column name. That's enough. So you can see an example spreadsheet right here. In line, I can see I have a spreadsheet with site set to Acme, and that's the name of the demo company I'm showing right now. The type of data I'm loading into the system is a job title, and then the name of the job title is field technician and field supervisor and so on. So I can use this as a visual example, or I can actually click to download the example spreadsheet right there, and I can open it up in Excel, and then I will change the font a little bit to be easier for you to see. Let's Let's see. There we go. So now with this spreadsheet, it's given me kind of a template of some fake data that I could load into the system. But I want to create my own data right here. So I'm going to go and clear the contents of these cells, and I'm going to create my own job titles right here. So let's see. I'm a software developer, so I'll type in software developer as one of the job titles. And then, sometimes, well, let's see. We'll do a few other ones. We could just have a site manager and then a operator, that type of thing. So I could save this file and then I could load it into the website, and I'll do that and show you what it looks like. But I'm going to show you what it looks like to have some errors on your spreadsheet and kind of how to work through those. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and leave this field blank. So that would be an error. You can't really have a job title without actually having the title. And then for these right here, I'm going to actually have these be the same name. So I'm going to have two job titles with the same name, and that would also be an error. So let's save this spreadsheet to my desktop, and I'll save it as Hazard Scout Job Titles. All right, so I've saved it there, and now it's a spreadsheet sitting on my desktop. If I go to my desktop, I can actually view, I can see what data is in there. And actually, the way a CSV file works is you can open it in a normal text editor, and you can see all it is comma-separated values. So each line is a row, and there's a comma in between the values. So it's really a very simple data. But that's a good way to check and see what your data actually looks like if you wanted to do that. Okay, so that's my spreadsheet. We're going to go back to the data load page, and we're actually going to go ahead and create a new one right here. So I'm going to upload the spreadsheet from my desktop, and it's that one I just created. All right, so upload is complete. That happened really quickly, and I'm going to click validate for the system to go through and make sure that everything looks correct. Okay, so right away there's an error on row 4. The name is blank, and that's not allowed. So I say, well, that doesn't sound right. Let's go look at our row 4. I look at row 4, and sure enough, it is blank, and it shouldn't be. So I meant to put operator there. So I will put operator as that job title. I can save that, and then now I'm going to try it again. All right, so I'm going to go back and create a new data load. I'm going to re-upload my spreadsheet. Now with my new corrected row 4, I'm going to hit validate, and then I'm going to have another error that's going to show up right here. And then so now it says there's an error on row 2 and there's an error on row 3. The name software developer should be unique, but it's duplicated. So I can see that row 3 also has the same job title. So we knew that was going to happen. But that kind of goes to show that the validation here really, it can look daunting, but if you really read the error messages, it's going to show you what row there's an issue with and what exactly is the problem that it's running into. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to change this to Site Manager, and then this should resolve our issues now. Now we should have some good data that we're going to load into the system. So I'll go back, and I'll create. I've updated my spreadsheet, and so I'm going to go ahead and re-upload it again. I'm going to hit validate, and it's going to look at that data again. All right, now it looks valid. I get a green checkbox. It hasn't made any changes to the system yet, but it's just saying, hey, everything looks good, and just so you know, what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 job titles out of this. So that's kind of a sanity check to make sure that what you were expecting to do with the data load was to create 3 job titles, and that's what it shows here. But so if it says creating 10,000 job titles, you might say, you know what, that's not what I intended. Maybe there's a problem there. Before I actually run it, I'm going to bounce over to my control panel and show you our list of job titles. So right now we have 14 job titles in the system, and then none of them have software developer, of course, because that's not a very usual title in the oil field. So I'm going to go ahead and run this data load file. So I hit run, it's queued, the system's waiting to run it. Okay, now it says data load ran successfully, and I can see kind of a log of what it did and that it finished successfully. So if I go back to my list of data loads, I can see, yep, the first 2 times I did it, there were errors, and then now this final time, it was successful. I can also view the details on one of these, and I can view the original spreadsheet, and I can still see that history of what the problems were with it. And if I want to, I can click on the spreadsheet, and it'll download it so I can see what data was actually loaded right there. Now if I go back to my job titles control panel, I can see now we have our new site manager, and we have our new software developer, and we have our new operator job titles listed in the system. And they're not assigned to any employee profiles because we just created them. But you can see that's how we loaded job titles into the system. So in that same way, you can load other data into the system. Job title is easy because there's one column, but other fields have more columns. For example, employee has maybe a dozen or more columns that you would need to fill out, and you can view information about what's required in these columns and what's not required, what type of information it's looking for. So for example, the first name is required whenever you're going to create an employee, and then if I go down here, their cell phone is optional, but you can, if you want to add a cell phone, the column name would be cell phone. And then I can see again an example spreadsheet inline right here. I could download an example if I wanted to. And just to show you one more example, if I go to completed trainings, maybe I want to load the history of our trainings for all of our employees up into the system. Well, I could view the data that's required right here, but another easy way to do it is I could click on the download example spreadsheet, click on that, and then now I have an example to work from, and I can see, I need to type in the employee number right here, and then I need to list what trainings they completed. I type the name of the training in right here, and then what date it was completed. I save that, and I upload it to the system, and then that data load will create those trainings automatically right there. So that's a fast, but pretty much covers everything overview of how the data load process works. Don't feel frustrated if you are uploading these and see these error messages. The system's really pretty hard on you in terms of getting all the data exactly right. But then once it's in the system, it's going to be good, clean data, and it'll be a lot easier to move forward from there. So definitely check out the other video guides if you have any other questions, or contact us and we can definitely help you out as well. All right, thanks a lot for your time.